Hey, this is Sky. Welcome to my YouTube channel. So I'm up early doing my morning program, Mind, Body, and Soul. It's Monday. Back to the bump and grind, to the rat race. Let's talk a little bit about becoming stronger. I like to talk about this topic a lot. You know, they say, what doesn't kill me makes me stronger. You ever heard that? I used to say that. I think I subscribe to that belief. I think it was Nietzsche, however you say it, that said that originally. What doesn't kill me makes me stronger. Notice how fragile people are these days. We seem like we're in an age of fragility. It's really the younger generations, the millennials, and then Gen Z. Oh my God, Gen Z is so fragile. I mean, it's our fault. We raised them that way. We raised kids in the 90s with this idea that we live in this dangerous world and we wanted to protect them from it. What we grew up with playing outside until the streetlights went off, with no supervision, having our own kind of Lord of the Flies world of kids. I mean, that's what we had where I lived. There was no adults involved. Once you stepped out of that house, you were in your own little kid world. We had our own rules, our own court systems, we had everything set up for us. Now kids just play inside. Adults have brainwashed their children into believing that they're going to be kidnapped. You know how rare kidnapping is? You can look it up. The statistics are so rare. It almost never happens. It's like home invasions. Home invasions almost never happen. You can look it up. And the ones that do happen are almost always gang related, drug related. But you go to the gun store and motherfuckers are buying guns 10 and 20 at a time. And I have lots of guns. I'm not anti-gun. But you get these paranoid idiots preparing for something that doesn't happen. They're just afraid. They're afraid. And this is what we've done to a whole generation. It's our fault. The fragility of Gen Z and the millennials is our fault. We made them that way. They learned it from us. All their little annoying habits they learned from us. We taught them that way. You don't like your kid being a fragile little snowflake? You taught them to be that. This whole generation, instead of believing what doesn't kill me makes me stronger, what they believe is what doesn't kill me makes me weaker. They believe the opposite. You follow me? They're so traumatized by experience. Traumatized by words, because they're seeing through a filter that they've been taught. This filter that the world is either good or evil, that there's this battle that they're involved in of their own survival because everyone else is out to get them. The whole world is out to get them. They need safety. The millennials are stuck in a battle of good and evil. This is why they're so righteous. The Gen Z is stuck in a desperate hunt for safety. They're terrified, and we made them that way. These are two battles that are delusional and dangerous. The battle of good and evil is so incredibly ridiculous. It leaves no room for gray areas, for nuance, for double meanings, it's just cut and dry, black and white, tribal, caveman-like. This is why Antifa has gotten so crazy. Black Lives Matters have gotten so crazy. Protests are no longer just protests, they're riots. And these kids see a videotape and they want to go and smash windows and burn down court buildings. We had cops beating up innocent people when I was a kid. We didn't riot during Rodney King because of a videotape. No, we didn't riot because of the videotape. Maybe you guys don't remember. They showed the video relentlessly for 2 months. It wasn't until after the court case when the cops were acquitted, let go, free. And we've seen the videotape every day on the news for 2 months. It wasn't until after they were acquitted that the first rock was thrown through the window, that the first riot happened. Now, I'm not justifying riots. I'm just saying that we did it differently. We waited. We said no justice, no peace, because we meant we are going to wait until after justice fails. When justice has completely failed, then we're going to take away your peace, this peace that you so desperately want, that you so desperately need in order to run your society. We're going to take that from you because you took our justice. But that doesn't mean anything when you get these overly sensitive little babies get lost in this battle of good and evil. It's not their own fault. We taught them this. We raised them wrong. You know, then when they're lost in this battle of good and evil, then of course they're going to make these crazy decisions because they believe that fighting evil with violence is necessary. A lot of people believe that. Look at World War II. We couldn't fight Hitler with words, with sanctions. We had to go bomb his ass. Same with the Japs. We couldn't convince them to calm down. We had to go and nuke them. Calm down, motherfucker. Boom. We actually sent 2 bombs on them. Calm their ass right down. It's like beating up that bully on the playground. Next thing you know, that motherfucker's your friend. But we have this overly sensitive generation filtering everything through this idea of good, this fantasy that they've latched onto of good and evil. This is where cancel culture comes from. Gen Z is lost in weakness, running from danger. They believe that everyone's out to get them. The world is a dangerous, dangerous, dangerous place, and they need safe spaces. They need help. They don't feel like they're going to make it. Every single day they feel like they're attacked. It's like being bruised fruit. Every little experience, whether it happens to them or not, there's something they hear about, will bruise them forever. You know, I like to think that the experiences that I've had made me stronger. The stuff that I've seen, the danger that I've been through, the things that I've survived. That's what I look at it as. I realize that, yeah, I've been through hell, but I survived it. And what doesn't kill me makes me stronger because I've seen it. So I'm no longer afraid of death because I've seen death. I've been through it numerous times. I've learned that lesson. I understand it. I've philosophized on it. I've watched people die. I've watched their bodies go into the ground as we buried them. I've cried for days and weeks and years on end afterwards, and then healed. I know what death is, so it doesn't frighten me anymore. That's how you become stronger off of a bad experience. I've been dumped by a fiance that I gave a diamond ring to the size of a basketball. She was my dream girl. Made in heaven, Adam and Eve, and I got dumped hardcore, left there standing just, why? I cried and felt so bad, had to rebuild myself. I crumbled that day. I had to completely rebuild myself from nothing, reinvent myself. And now I'm no longer scared of losing relationships. I'm no longer afraid of someone telling me they don't love me. I'm no longer looking for that kind of external validation because I love myself, and this has taught me these lessons, and without having to go through the experience of pain, I wouldn't have learned how to become strong. Your immune system works this way. That's why it's good for kids to play in the dirt. Because as they get older, they build up immunities. These sheltered little kids that are kept inside away from any kind of virus and sickness, and they're fragile, weak, sickly. We used to have chickenpox parties, measles parties, mumps parties, and I didn't like that shit. Your mom would send you to a fucking sleepover at some sick chickenpox kid's house, and you'd just be like, man, they want me to get this shit? They'd lock you in a basement with these motherfuckers. And I never got it. I was sent to 4 different chickenpox parties, never got chickenpox. My mom was furious. She was like, you don't have it? No, I'm sorry, I don't have it. She was just like, damn it. Because they want you to become stronger. It's easy for us older people, Generation X and baby boomers, to sit around pointing our fingers, shaking our heads at millennials and Gen Z for how they are, for being so weak. But you got to remember that we raised them. They're copying you. These are your younger brothers, your children. They're copying you. They're learning this stuff from you. Political correctness came from the hippie generation. Counterculture is where political correctness came from. Millennials didn't invent political correctness. I remember in the early 90s, articles written by people my parents' age came out telling us what political correctness is defining the term, and then giving you a list, a long list of 700 or 800 words and things that you can no longer do. That's no longer politically correct. I remember these articles when I was in my early 20s. It wasn't my generation writing them. This whole idea that words hurt, that we shouldn't have a meritocracy, that the people that fail should be coddled and propped up. You know, we can just go on and on with all these different aspects of weakness that are being promoted in our society. This all comes from us. We need to own up to it. And the only way that we're going to get out of this is to lead our way out of it. We have to recognize the problem to first diagnose it. And then there has to be leadership. Younger people look to the older people for leadership. They get frustrated when they don't see leaders that they feel like following or that they can follow. Maybe that's a whole other video. Where are the leaders going to come from? And how are the young people going to follow them? It's all food for thought. Thanks for watching.